What's up everyone, back again with another review for the LTA Movie Club. This time I watched the Kite Runner. Have to say, I had seen this movie before, but to be completely honest, I fell asleep. That's not because it was a bad movie, but because I was tired when I was watching it. So I figured watch it again for the movie club, give it another chance. So the review's going to be the same as usual, likes and dislikes. Before I get into that, you know, I said in my last video I would crucify anybody that hated Network. All I have to say is that a lot of the LTA reviewers are ignorant fucks. Love them, but ignorant fucks. So that's all the energy I'm going to waste on that. Can't change people's opinions. So that's that. So, likes, dislikes. This video will also be a little brief because I'm kind of coming down with a cold, so it won't be as long as the other ones, and I know that's actually a good thing. So a little brevity here. So what did I like about the Kite Runner? Well, first and foremost, I have to say I really like the acting, especially the children that played Amir and Hassan. They were wonderful. Now, a little tidbit that I read, and you can Google this, was apparently the children and their parents were misled when they were making this movie because they weren't fully aware of the, you know, spoilers, the gay rape scene in the movie. And apparently that's a really controversial and big deal. So I really hope that nothing bad came of it. I didn't really delve further into it, but I do know that apparently that was quite a big controversy before the movie came out and subsequently afterward. But I really liked the child actors in this movie. A lot of the adult ones were okay. They weren't great. But, you know, they did their job well. The father was a standout. He was wonderful. His whole story arc from being kind of a distant father to really kind of embracing his son without even really knowing him was great. His travels to America, his kind of humbleness, but always standing up for what's right, were phenomenal. So he was great. Everyone, even the smaller characters and the you know, smaller parts in this movie, the acting was phenomenal. So I love the acting. What else? I like the general theme. You know, this whole thing where, you know, redemption and striving for redemption, and you don't always get it, but it's trying that counts. That's just a very powerful thing. So I definitely thought that that was something that, you know, instilled a sense of hope, because, you know, no matter what, it'll never hurt to right wrongs that you've made in your life. So I really like the themes. I love the first half of this movie. The whole, you know, kite running aspect and the kite festival and the fights and the bullying, and, you know, it's what really built the characters in the movie. Again, the wonderful acting helped, but I mean, it's just tight writing. It established each character and like what they stood for and who they were, and I thought that was pretty great. And again, that's the first half. I'll get to the second half later. But that's pretty much it for my likes. I'm not going to shit all over this movie because it's not terrible, but I'm going to launch into the dislikes. I have a couple more and they kind of outweighed the likes, so here we go. I didn't like how heavy-handed it was. You know, it kind of beat you over the head with this whole thing, you know. Russians are bad and Taliban's bad, and, you know, they were, but at the same time it's like, okay, you know, let's focus on the characters, you know, the important aspect of the story. And I thought, you know, it was a little too much of that. And also it's like that Amir was just a shitty guy. Apparently in the book he's even worse, but, you know, it just seemed, you know, and another reviewer said this, kind of like a made-for-TV kind of movie. And, you know, that's good and bad, but it's, you know, these whole, this is a lesson, watch it kind of things. I think they could be a little more subtle with that. So I didn't like the heavy-handedness. I didn't like the gray area of the movie, or rather the lack thereof. The bad people were bad, the good people were good, you know. Amir at least was striving to redeem himself for these horrible things he did as a child, you know, ignorant things. he did as a child. But at the same time, you know, I felt that, again, the Russians and the Taliban and, you know, Amir were just portrayed as these terrible, terrible things. And I'm not saying they're good, but what I'm saying is life isn't like that. There's a lot of moral gray area. There's a lot of, you know, political gray area. You know, I'm not going to launch into the politics of this movie, but it's pretty obvious. And I'm just saying a little bit, some of the other stuff would have helped out a lot. So I didn't like that. Not a fan that this kind of lost its way halfway through the movie. You know, you focus on Amir and Hassan's relationship, and I know they kind of went their separate ways and their lives turned out completely different. But at the same time, it lost focus on that relationship. It shifted to Amir and his father, and then Amir and his wife, and then Amir coming back to Afghanistan to, you know, save his nephew's life or whatever. But when they go to Afghanistan, it just seemed like it was going on, and again being very heavy-handed with the, you know, this is bad, this is what happened, this is terrible. Shut up, dog. Anyway, that was a little irritating to me, because I like movies to keep their focus. Again, I said it with Network, carrying the focus throughout the movie. It's not a bad thing, and it seems like a lot of filmmakers, you know, stray away from that. God, shut up! Sorry. Anyway, I also didn't like Amir. I know you're not supposed to like his character, but I didn't like how they handled it. You know, I think if they're going to show his redemption, and if they're going to show that he's really trying to be a better person, to fix these mistakes, he has to admit them. He admitted them to no one. He told no one. You know, his father was on his deathbed. His father's friend was on his deathbed. His wife, who he apparently shares everything with, he didn't share, you know, how horrible he was and what this was. I mean, there's a sense that he shared it with his wife over the phone while he was in Pakistan. But at the same time, it's like, if, as a character, if you really want to show him as going from point A to point B and undergoing this catharsis, you have to have him admit that he was wrong, that he did a terrible thing, and he's been carrying it with him, and he'll never redeem himself, but he can fucking try. And the movie succeeded in a way, but without that aspect, without him admitting it, without him sharing his crime, you know, it loses some of its impact. So that was a pet peeve. At the end of the day, this is an alright movie. You know, it's supposed to be emotional, it's supposed to impact you, but it does it in a way that, you know, kind of forces your hand. It forces you to feel, and it forces you to feel a certain way. There's no gray area. It's like, we're going to guide you here, and you can't do anything to change that. And I guess at the end you're supposed to feel that Amir has succeeded in, you know, coming full circle, but he hasn't. And I guess you're supposed to feel that, you know, there's hope, and, you know, it just doesn't. It falls a little flat. It feels like a little too preachy. You know, it could have been the music, it could have been the way it was shot, it could have been the CG kite flying at the end, but, you know, at the end of the movie, I was like, okay, it's alright. It's not terrible, but it's not great. There are a lot of people that are like, God, this movie's amazing, and it really makes you think. It doesn't. You know, a documentary about this, or something showing both sides, or a little more with Hassan, or again, Amir admitting something, would have been a lot better. But beggars can't be choosers. So, that said, I kind of recommend it for one watch, and, you know, it's not going to be in my movie collection. But that's that. So that's my review. The next movie is A Dirty Shame. I watched this a couple days ago. That review is going to be incoming. But yeah, it's John Waters, so I'm kind of going to dig on that movie. But that's for the next review. If you liked this review or any of the other ones, rate, thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and thanks for all the support. Alright guys, have a great one. Bye.